Up first in the build, I went with the Lordsworn Straight Sword, and I put Keen on it just to make sure it scales off of Dex. I'm pretty much just gonna be pumping Dex. I went with this sword specifically because it's pretty simple, but it's also not too simple. I think it matches Casca pretty well, and surprisingly does some decent damage. I threw on the double slash Ash of War. This just allows you to have an extra moveset in your kit, and I think it actually looks pretty cool and matches her style pretty well. Like most melee builds I do, I usually have Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength on there, so I wanted to put that Dragon Communion seal on, and considering it kind of looks a bit more like the brand, hey, might as well use it, right? And you can just throw on any dagger you want that has Quick Step. She's a quick gal, but she's not as mysteriously fast as Griffith, and she's not quite as strong as Guts. She's a nice balance of the two. Now for the chest piece, I actually picked two different ones that I thought looked pretty decent. The first one is the blue silver mail armor. This one allows her to kind of just have a bit more metal plating on the front that matched her style, and I kind of thought that long cloak kind of matched what Guts was wearing a bit, and if he decided to, you know, give it to Casca when he left the first time. The second chest piece was the Samor armor. I thought it actually looked pretty good. It was pretty lightweight, kind of matched her style a little bit. Now, I actually thought it looked pretty good and might have matched her style if she was actually in the Elden Ring world. For the gloves, I just went with some very, very basic gauntlets. These kind of matched her gloves as best as I could, and not much else really compared. It's the same thing with these Albric's trousers. There's not many boots that actually go all the way up that high, and Casca wears boots that high, so hey, I gotta try to get it right. But hey, it came out pretty well, I think. The first talisman I put on was the Green Turtle Talisman, raising your stamina recovery speed. This will allow you to do your movesets just a bit more and allow you to stay into the fight just a little bit longer. The second one I put on is the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, enormously boosting physical damage negation. This actually helps quite a bit to negate a lot of damage that would otherwise hit you with the kind of light armor that you're using. Then I went with the Radagon Sword Seal, greatly raising our vigor, endurance, strength, dexterity. These are all stats that we're going to greatly need. For the last talisman, Shard of Alexander, always good, especially when you're going to be focusing mostly on skills. Any skill you have is just going to do that much more damage with it on. Always advise it. For the Flask of Wondrous Physique, the first one I put on is the Opaline Heart tier. It's going to temporarily boost damage negation. This is going to boost your elemental damage negation, not any of the physical, but we're boosting our physical damage negation with a talisman and Golden Vow. So we're just kind of bumping up our elemental damage resistance and making us just that much tougher. The second one I went with is the Thorny Crack tier. That's going to make your consecutive attacks grow stronger, and considering you're going to try to stay in there as much as possible, might as well try to raise up your attack power a little bit, even if you can. The Thorny Crack tier could be moved out for any of the other ones that you might find viable for yourself instead. Now for the incantations, as I said before, we're using Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength, and I've probably said these two quite often, and I'll probably say them for pretty much any melee build, that these are going to raise your attack power and it's going to raise your defense quite considerably. So Golden Vow, really good. And it'll last longer than the skill Golden Vow. For the Great Rune, Godric's Great Rune, it's pretty much all I'm going to pick from here on out. Just pick that Godric's Great Rune. Now on to the stats. Vigor I put up to 45, the Radagon Sword Seal is going to give me 5 more to put it up to 50, and that pretty much puts my HP around 1700, and that's what I like it to be at. Mind is up at 25, allowing us just to use a ton of these skills as much as possible. Also, you're able to use your Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength and only use half of your FP, and the other half of your FP is just for your skill. Almost go throughout an entire boss fight without having to recharge it. Endurance I have up at 29 with the Radagon Sword Seal. You're gonna need 5 more to put it up at 34, giving you quite a bit more stamina, and it's just gonna keep you in that fight a bit longer, allow you to dodge a bit more, whatever you need the stamina for. Strength, Intelligence, and an Arcane I didn't touch at all. Those are just base. Dexterity I put up to 75, considering we're using the Radagon Sword Seal. It's going to give me that extra 5 points of dexterity, and it's going to cap me out at 80. Didn't want to go to 80 and have it then put at 85, because then I'm just wasting 5 points. And Faith I have at 25 to use the incantations. That's all you really need. If you can spare the extra points to put that Faith up there, greatly beneficial to always have those incantations. how would a Casca build really work? Well, it's actually very simple of a build. Just try to make sure that you're dodging appropriately and just use your skill or regular attacks, jump attacks, whatever you have. Use anything at your disposal for your sword. I will say though that double slash attack is actually very good. She'll actually put herself quite low to the ground, and a lot of sweeping attacks will actually miss her, allowing you to then do more of the combo. Otherwise, I gotta say, this build, she's actually quite tanky for testing install in New Game Plus. Now, I was actually quite surprised because it's a very simple build, and it actually has a lot more going for it than you wouldn't actually think. It feels good now to get the trifecta of characters that you can play as in this game that come from Berserk. We got Guts, Griffith, and Casca, so check out the other two. Let me know what other characters I should do in the comments below, and I'll try my best to make them viable.